Thank you for joining me on ThinkTech Hawaii. I'm Shayna Park, your host for Money Talks. My guest is my mom, Chanda Park, and we will be discussing how traveling can teach you important financial lessons. Let's get into it. Right now, where are you?
I am in Tokyo, Japan.
That's exciting.
In
And
case
you
you.
know, and I want you to share some tips about how we got here, how to budget for traveling and finances in general, and planning for a great extravagant trip.
Yeah, sure. I was actually reading this article and it talked about how travel can make you financially smart and just the comparison with planning your travel, your vacation and trips, and then also planning for your financial future and maintaining it. And so when I looked at that and I thought about our travels, I was thinking, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of similarities in planning for travel and then also planning for our finances. So here's the four things that are in common. You have to prepare a budget, right? So you have to prepare a budget when you're traveling, and you have to look at what you're going to be spending. And you can even break that down per day. And then also, how much do you need to save for that particular trip? And then also the importance of research. So, researching your travels, the things that you want to do, how much would certain tours cost, museums, or whatever you want to do on your trip, right?
Yeah, so I know this isn't your first time in Japan. I know we went back in 2017. So can you share some tips you've learned throughout the years? Because compared to 2017 to now it being 2023, what changed and what are some financial, saving habits that you created to help with this trip?
Well, in 2017, as you know, it was for your sister's graduation and also her 18th birthday. And, I just started in the financial industry. It was just months in the financial industry when I took you and your sister and your brother to Japan. And it was crazy how it all happened because I just knew that I wanted to go somewhere that we would be using our passport. And it was actually my coworker at the dental office, because I was still a dental hygienist at that time. And she said, "Hey, I looked on Google Flights and it's really cheap to get to Japan right now." I want to say it was just a little over $500. I think Hawaii
Wow.
is having a special, and it was a direct flight. And it was just that. It was like, oh my gosh, it's so cheap to get to Japan right now. That's where we're going. And honestly, I had nothing else planned. And so it was just setting that because the airfare was so cheap. And then it was preparing the budget after, when we already booked the flights. So luckily, I was able to find this Airbnb in Shinagawa. And if I remember correctly, it was only about $21 a night. And so my coworkers were all worried about me and worried about us because they knew that we've never been to Japan yet. And here I am, a single mom of three. I believe your brother was only 10, right? So they're like, "Are you crazy? You're just going to go on your own. You've never been there. How are you going to get to the Airbnb?" I'm like, "We'll figure it out."
Yep, and that's exactly what we did. We figured it out and we had a fantastic time um, in
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
So you mentioning that, figuring it out when we got here, what were some of your tips that, helped you? Because of course, when you figure it out at the time, you have to also budget. So did you have, a percent in mind of how much to spend on food, how much to spend on all the activities we did, and taking into account the hotels as well?
Yes, I did. So, being that the airfare was very affordable, being that the Airbnb, because I want to say we stayed for about 11 days in 2017. And the fact that the Airbnb was only about $21 a night. Yeah, I definitely I knew that I had a set budget before we even arrived in Japan. And so that I had to kind of space that out every single day to plan for those 11 days. And the amazing thing about 2017, when we were here back then, is that a really good friend of mine, Lanai, he actually put me in touch with his friend Nestor. That at the time that we came in 2017, he was already living here for 8 years, and he's from Hawaii. And so he married a Japanese lady, so fluent in Japanese, still a local boy from Hawaii. So when we met up, even though we never met yet, we just bonded immediately. So it was that local boy with still that aloha spirit. And then him and his wife just made the perfect tour guide. And do you remember the first time we met him? It was his birthday.
I do remember that actually.
And I
It's so
told him, don't come out, don't come out. And why would you want to babysit me and my kids? And he was like, no, we're fun people. My wife and I are fun people. We want to come out on my birthday. And that's the first time we met him.
I now that you mentioned that, I do remember. And it's incredible that, there's so many connections all across the world and just networking with different people as well.
Yeah.
And just your friend and being able to meet one of his friends. And now we're like family because I know that we'll be meeting with him today, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited that we're going to be able to, hang out with him today. And I'm not sure what the plans are, where he's going to take us. But so far, since we've been here, we're right in Akasaka. We've been to Shibuya, and last night we hung out in Harajuku. So that was really fun. I think your brother wants to go to Shinagawa today, and that's where we stayed at the Airbnb the last time. So there's this pastry at the train station that he is just addicted to. He was addicted to it when we stayed here the last time. So he wants to revisit that location and find that pastry. So I know Shinagawa is going to be a stop here today. But yeah, the food is just absolutely fabulous no matter where we go. Oh, in this picture, that is Charlene. So her and her husband are here. They've been living here for a couple of years. He took a job at the embassy. And so their contract is ending in July, but they have a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath condo. And right now I'm sitting here, and this living room, well, her whole condo is just all glass. So I'm sitting here just looking out at the city, and I have like just the view of beautiful Tokyo. So it's really amazing. And then that's where it comes in too, right? With the budget. The whole time we're here in Japan, we don't have to, worry about hotel costs. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just perfect. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and grateful is an understatement that we have family and friends that take care of us up here. But also, a lot of times we could also tend to spend more in other areas because we don't have to pay for a hotel. So, what are some of your tips or advice that you can give to not overspend in other areas because we didn't spend on a hotel?
Well, I think it kind of comes with age too. I was having this conversation with Franklin last night that before, when I used to travel, when you and your sister were just little girls, I think you were maybe 6 and 7 years old. I didn't have your brother yet. And we
Mhm.
went to New York. And prior to that, I think we were in Vegas, and then we went to San Francisco and New York. So it was like a 3-week vacation. And I just remember going crazy on shopping. And it's different nowadays when, ever since I got older and with all the traveling that I did before, nowadays I'm not interested in shopping. And I guess knowing that whatever you want. I mean, with technology nowadays, or with Amazon, shopping is so different. You can get anything from anywhere around the world, basically shipped to you, right? So it's different from before, and I think it's age and experience. So because I've traveled and I shop so much, like that, those kinds of things, it doesn't interest me anymore. So that's where I know that I really save and cut back on spending is the shopping.
Yeah, and I really feel like there's a misconception about how expensive Japan could be because food wise, I personally feel like I spend most of my money on food and drinks, but it's not that costly in Japan. And do you want to share? There's some photos of our meals and how much it had cost us and what it would cost in Hawaii. It's insane.
Oh yeah, yesterday lunch alone, I want to say it was only about $8, and it came with unlimited tea, this cold tea that was just so refreshing. And it was tempura. It came with two shrimp tempura, one pumpkin, another like green beans and root. I forget. It was a whole platter, and then a whole bowl of udon. And that was just so delicious. Very, very different. And there's no way that we would be able to get a meal like that in Hawaii for $8. Nowadays, I think even mini plates are, I don't know, $15 possibly for a mini plate in Hawaii. So
Yeah.
for
So
$8 to have that whole meal, it was so delicious.
And it's so tempting because for me, at least, when I see how cheap the food is, I just want to keep spending. But also, I guess in a sense, since it's food, my body can only take so much. So it's not like
Exactly.
I can keep spending and spending. But I like what you had said earlier too about shopping because I think it's true. Because of technology, Amazon, you could really get anything anywhere. So it's being more aware about where are you spending your money and could you possibly order it online? So I know yesterday we went to another city or town over, it's Harajuku, and they're very known for shopping. And of course, they have the cutest things, they have dog clothes and everything, but it's when you're caught in the moment and you're somewhere incredible and spectacular, you're so tempted to spend. But you got to just take that step back, right? And realize, maybe I could order this somewhere else and it could be the same thing. Only get things that you can only get in Japan. So my suggestion would be maybe snacks or I don't know, even their technology is pretty great.
Yeah, that's true. And again, talking about the age and experience, your brother was kind of going crazy on shopping, right, in Harajuku.
It's an
And so when you talk
understatement.
about, right, and when you talk about budgeting, I have to educate him. So, I just remind him, hey, because he has his own money, he works two jobs, right? He's 16 years old, but he's been working since he was 14, and I make him save half of his pay. And so he has accumulated his own savings. And I put so much into his bank account because he does have a debit card. And so when he started shopping, I reminded him, hey, we are in Japan all the way until Saturday. And then we're flying to Thailand. We're going to be in Phuket and Bangkok. Don't spend all your money here in Japan because if you run out, too bad. I'm not giving you any. So you have a certain amount that you have to spend. You have to spend only half in Japan and save the other half for when you get to Thailand. We're going to be there until May 4th. So, that alone is educating him at a young age. Like, okay, this is what you need to budget.
Yes. And I think that's great because whether or not if you have a set amount of money that you come here with, if you do your research about the area and the place you're staying, if for example, Tokyo, the food is so, relatively cheap. And you could find a great Airbnb, like how you mentioned that you got it for how much was it again?
I want to say it was only about $21. That's why my coworkers were worried. They were thinking that I was getting scammed because they seen the pictures too. And the pictures, they were just beautiful. But as you know, we weren't disappointed at all. And Shinagawa is it's a very well, every
Little
area is
town.
safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great town.
Yeah. And, going back to what I was saying too, is that even having a budget when you do your research, say you only spend $30 a day, that is more than enough for food, shopping,
Oh yeah,
drink.
yeah.
Yeah. I
That is
know.
way more than enough. And you know what is funny too? The family marts and the 7-Eleven. The food is just so delicious in there that, your brother keeps going right downstairs to the family mart and, just going to pick up his own breakfast. And yeah, the food is delicious even in these 7-Elevens and family
Yes.
mart. Yeah.
Yes. It's not a disappointment at all. I personally feel like Japan and Hawaii have the best 7-Elevens. It's unbeatable.
Oh, yeah. And Japan has the best McDonald's because you know how we like to eat at McDonald's wherever we travel just to, try it out and compare. And I remember back in 2017 too, where we said, oh my gosh, the fries, the French fries is just so different here in Japan. And yeah, so of course we were searching for one yesterday and we weren't disappointed. Um,
At all.
McDonald's, yeah.
And to think about experience and experiencing new cultures, their lifestyles, entering McDonald's, the prices for the food was relatively cheap.
Mhm.
And to think in the States, especially Hawaii, how much a McDouble would cost compared to how a McDouble would cost in Japan it's crazy to me. But that's what traveling is all about too, is being able to experience and try out new things. And I feel like, what is your take on, a lot of times people, it's just getting to that place. But with the research that you had mentioned, you actually don't have to spend all that money when you are in, say, Tokyo, right?
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's saving, right? Planning your savings if you know you're going to travel, but the airfare is already ahead of time, and then doing your research, and then just knowing what are you spending on, hotel or in our case right now, we're fortunate enough to have a beautiful place to stay in that, is not costing us anything. So then that's where, you plan ahead for your budget. And that's why we're able to extend our stay for so long with Japan and Thailand because you left on April 13th. So that's April 13th all the way till May 4th that you will be gone.
Yes, I will be gone for 3 weeks. And even for myself, I have responsibilities back where I live and also, bills and things I have to take care of. But that is something that has to be planned in advance. Knowing that I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks, then I have to make sure that I have um, all the money when I come back because it's the start of May that I can pay for all my expenses and, not be in the negatives, but really understanding if you had watched our previous show too about building a strong financial foundation, why it's so important and how it can come in handy when you get to go on great experiences like this.
Yes, definitely. And that was really the beginning of me experiencing passive income when I was able to take you and your sister and your brother to Japan in 2017 and just starting in financial education and educating myself and working in the financial industry and to be able to experience um, seeing my income come in twice a week while we were in Japan and getting paid twice a week for the whole time that we were there. And I remember showing you and your sister my direct deposit and just doing my best to educate the two of you as well as I was educating myself and learning. Remember I used to drag the both of you to our financial workshops.
Yes. And I'm so grateful too because I feel that I learned so much about, well, one, you can never get back time. So two, work hard and play hard. We get to experience together all these amazing places that when you travel as well, you build up a lot of knowledge about the culture, about connections, about people. And yes, although when you work, we have responsibilities working, but also to enjoy that time to fill our cup and remember that we want to live life with no regrets, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no regrets. They did studies on that with older people, and a question was asked, like what are your biggest regrets in life? And the biggest regrets that people have was not taking enough risks in their lives. So that was their biggest regret. So I agree with you to live with having as little regrets as possible.
Yes. And with proper planning, you're able to do so. With proper financial planning and being able to plan for all these trips, you're able to do so without feeling any financial burden or financial stress. Um, and I want you to talk a little bit more about the slides that we have, so the locations, maybe how much it even costs to get there, because the form of transportation is catching the train. It's very rare to be in a car, but how much it typically costs us to get from place to place?
I want to say that I've only put a little over $10 on the Suica card. So it's a card that you just put money on and then you just swipe it every time you catch the train. But mostly, people catch the trains everywhere. And that's how we did it back in 2017. That's how we're traveling to the different cities now. It's very, very cheap to do so. And then all you do is just refill your card.
Yes. So where is this city in Japan?
Where are we? Is this Shibuya or Harajuku?
This is Shibuya.
Oh, okay, that's Shibuya.
I'm asking you, but I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, yes, you're correct. That's Shibuya. And yeah, they're both Shibuya.
Yes. And Shibuya, I think, is known for shopping. So of course, it's very tempting to spend there. But I think when we went out this night, we didn't spend anything at all. I think all the scenery was enough for us all.
Well, what I really love too is that we have friends here, which is amazing. You have two really great friends that I believe you've known both of them since middle school.
Yeah.
And so Shinosuke and Nalani, we got to hang out with them last night, and it's fun. It's relaxing because they're both fluent in Japanese. They live here. So it's like having free tour guides.
Yes. Yes. And that's one thing too about traveling and being able to experience. If I didn't get a plane ticket or a plan, I don't think I'd be able to see my best friend until possibly when she travels back to Hawaii. But because of financial education, because of planning in advance, learning to save for my future as well, I'm able to go out and see my best friend. After it's been, I'm not sure how long. She hasn't moved even here for a year, but being able to have the opportunity to see her and for you to see her as well, because you've known her just as long as I have.
Yeah. And even for your brother, with Shinosuke, he moved to Japan to work at the Gaku here, but he got your brother the job at Gaku in Hawaii. And so Shinosuke is going to be taking us to his family restaurant to eat at the Gaku here. And, I know Uncle Nestor is going to be taking us around, and travel just, for me, it's a whole big world out there. However, when you travel, it does shrink the world, and it just makes everything seem so closer and so much closer. And like you said, learning about different cultures, it's just very, very educational.
Yeah, and there's a big difference too from reading about Tokyo or Japan in a book and having that experience for yourself when you get to experience the people and the food, the environment, it makes, I think personally for me, it makes me richer in the mind, heart, soul. And it, I take a little bit of whether if I'm not shopping or anything physical, but I get to take a piece of knowledge and I get to apply it to my life and how I want to live. And just the culture too, they're just so polite. And with our friends here and family, they're so giving, and it just shows. Well, they are also from Hawaii, but the aloha can spread
Oh,
everywhere. It does not have to just stay in Hawaii.
definitely not. And I'm excited that in 2 days, we're going to be catching the bullet train to Osaka because Lanai is actually here and he has a tour group that he took for a tour in Osaka. So they're spending the whole week there. And he actually has a free day. So again, just having people that have experience, know all the places to eat, the tours that he's going to be able to take us around in Osaka in 2 days. So that's really exciting. I'm
Yes,
looking
I'm
forward to
super
that.
excited for Osaka as well. And it's Franklin's birthday, so my boyfriend's birthday. And when we first started dating, I had mentioned to you his dream place to go was Japan. So now that he gets to experience Japan for longer than a week and to have his birthday here, and not even just staying in Tokyo, being able to go to Osaka, I'm super stoked to say the least.
It's a dream come true for him, and I'm really happy. And when you accomplish your dreams, you can set even bigger goals and dream bigger and accomplish goals. So with traveling, like I said, it's the same as budgeting for your own personal finances. You have to do the research to see where you want to save and invest your money, right? You want to also prepare your own budget on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Do your own personal financial strategy and think about your spending and your savings. So again, traveling is very similar. When you plan for that, you can also use the same strategies and tips to plan for your own financial future.
Yes. Well, thank you, for all the advice and knowledge that you shared today. And of course, being on the show. Um, I learned so much from you, and I feel that I'm blessed to be doing a show like this in Tokyo, Japan.
Thank you for having me.
No, I love you. So,
Love you.
everyone, I hope to see you all at the next episode of Money Talks. I am Shayna Park, a Gen Z inspiring lives of liberties. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching ThinkTech Hawaii. If you like what we do, please like us and click the subscribe button on YouTube and the follow button on Vimeo. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and donate to us at thinktechhawaii.com. Mahalo.